Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be interviewing this amazing human being today. My name is Alex Chester. I am the editor-in-chief and founder of Mixed Asian Media. I am currently residing in New York City on the unceded territories of the Lenape people and Canarsie people. For a visual description, I have dark purple hair with bangs. I am wearing a MAMP Festival t-shirt with some gold chains. I have a medium skin tone, lightish medium skin tone with almond-shaped eyes that are brown. And yeah, Bianca, I would love for you to introduce yourself.
Hi. Wow, it's hard to follow because that was very descriptive and quite awesome. Hi, I'm Bianca. I am a restaurateur. I am also an actor. I am half Italian and I'm half Chinese. Maybe that will aid in my description. I guess hopefully. I grew up in Hong Kong, so a lot of my work started, at least in terms of television and theater and film, in Asia. So I did a lot of TV shows and films in Asia before transitioning here. And I go by she, her pronouns. And descriptively, I would say I have naturally very dark hair, and I'm about 5'4". And yeah, that's all I can think of right now.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm so excited you're here. You're so accomplished. You're an entrepreneur, a model, an actor, a restaurateur. I would love to know, like, how did you get your start?
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Thank you for that. Yeah, how did I get my start? I think I was always quite a passionate child. So I think I knew my interests really early on. And I think that it helped fuel my decisions in life. So, I was always involved in theater and music. And, I hated school and I would skip a lot of classes, but you couldn't pay me to skip drama class. If that kind of tells you a lot about my personality. Not really good with rules, but I am great when I care. So I think that's kind of just that's kind of how I got into it, just out of pure interest. Being active in the community, trying to involve myself in theater, asking questions. How do I get myself on this TV show? How do I get myself on that film? How can I help? Being active,
It's awesome. So I would love to know, like, do you see that there's a difference in how you are treated or perceived in China versus here in the States? And how has that affected your career as an actor?
Ooh, that's a really brilliant question. I didn't expect that. Okay. How I'm perceived. So that's a very multi-layered question, right? So in Hong Kong, because I am mixed and I'm Eurasian, there are stereotypes against, I think, women like us. And I think we tend to play, sluttier, ditzier, vixen-y type roles. And I hate to say it, but I felt like I was kind of typecast. And I was only offered that, whereas like the lead role of a sweet, angelic, pure, like 100% Han Chinese, girl would play like the number one protagonist. And by the way, they have this thing they say it in Mandarin, but they call it 女三, which is like first female, second female, third female. So they do rank you. It almost sounds like a military ranking, but it's very normal and it's commonly used within Asian cinema, Chinese cinema particularly. So here, you'll have co-stars, guest star, series regular, or you're all stars of the show, right? It's not like that in China. So
Wow.
So that's probably something new. And I have a lot of Chinese actors who are actually from China, like friends, who are like, yeah, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. And it's very true, So I think how I'm perceived, I never got to play the first female. I did play second a lot. And that's already really good, it wasn't a complaint for me. I was just happy to be there. I could have been playing a tree for all I cared. I was just like, I'll be the best tree ever, I promise. I was so excited and enthralled to be involved. But that there's that difference. There's no union there. Like we have a union, everything's done differently, here. So it's kind of like the Wild Wild West over there, or Wild Wild East, I like to say. So there's that. How I'm perceived. I think they also perceive me as more white over there. Whereas when I come here, even though I'm half Italian, I'm not seen as white, but I'm also not seen as Asian, because they really do cast like full Asian for Asian, and I don't think I look all the way Asian. So I get Latinx, like Latinx is my thing, and you'll see that within my entire commercial career. So I do a lot of commercials, and I used to be embarrassed or even like ashamed of that, because I was like, oh wow, it almost seems like a secondary career choice, but now I'm really proud of it, and I take pride in it now, because it is acting, and there's so much money involved, and it's afforded me a beautiful life. So I do think if you have the option, definitely go into commercials. If you guys are just like new actor, there's no shame. Don't let anyone tell you some work is superior to others. I've even had people say like soap operas are so terrible, and it's this. I just don't. I'm not of that school of thought. I don't subscribe to that. Acting is acting, and if it makes you happy and it sparks your joy and it brings you, happiness, you should absolutely pursue it, especially, if you're getting rates that are amazing, like above 10K days. I think that's there's something to be said about that. So I think, well, sorry to go off on a tangent. It's kind of a lot to get, in a short amount of time, but to answer that, Latinx is how I'm seen here, and I don't think that's a thing in Asia. I think that they honestly, if they were to see a Hispanic person, because even Hispanic people have a wide diversity, right? It's not just one look. You have Hispanic people who actually look quite Filipino, quite Asian, and then you have like blonde, and blue-eyed Latinos from Mexico, right? So that even that is very diverse. I think that would all get lumped into white in Asia. So anything that's not immediately Asian looking is white to them. So I think that's why I get like cast as like white roles when I feel it's kind of absurd. But it's just like that's how they do it. So
that's so interesting. I mean, I do a lot of commercial work as well, and I have to say I'm always the ambiguous person on set. And it's so funny because I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm gonna run with that. I get it. It's fine. I found what you were saying previously about acting in Hong Kong that was so interesting about being as a mixed Asian, you're Asian person, that you're perceived as like the slutty person, the like vixen. It's so or the bad girl. It's so different for here in the States, because I think we're at least I have seen where like the quirky best friend next door, but still the secondary character, never really a primary lead. We're always like the quirky best friend or the edgy artsy person, That's what I've noticed. So I think that there's a lot of parallels there in a sense.
And by the way, sometimes we do fall into that stereotype, because like when I look at you, I feel like you fit very beautifully into that role of like, like you look artsy to me. You look, edgy to me. Like you look quirky. You're very like Zooey Deschanel, like that's your brand. And so like that works. And I think that would be whether you were, Hapa or not, right? Like there are some things like that, but there is something to be said about, because I think if you were to go to Asia, I wonder, if they would paint you in that way. For instance, and it's not to say that like you don't immediately fall under like a slutty look. Like, I don't even think I look slutty, right? I think I'm a very conservative looking girl, actually. But I wonder if they would perceive you that way, because I've seen them do that to actually like fully white girls who work in Asia, and they look like, to me, being as American as I am, goody two shoes. I'm like, you're a girl next door. Like you've got chubby cheeks. You've got like, you're very not what I would put. You're not that type. You're not that sultry type, but they will still, slap the makeup on and like make them that type. So I sometimes wonder like, hey, if a Hapa girl like you, were to pursue a career in Hong Kong, how would you be seen? I actually don't know.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I've actually one of the times I myself have never been to anywhere in Asia. I was supposed to go in 2020 to Japan for the first time, and obviously that did not happen. So hopefully next year I'll get to go and experience that. It's so interesting. I was talking to people that are from like both worlds and actually reside in both worlds. It's such a different quality. It's such a different point of view compared to someone like me who is third generation Asian American, and my family's been here for that long. So it's so different, and I really appreciate your point of view and the experience you bring to the table, and it's just so interesting to me. Gosh, you do so much. Like I'm always I obviously follow you on Instagram, and I see that you were at a convention recently for makeup. Is this a lot? Can you talk? Is that something of your creation? What's going on with that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, so I have a skincare company and a skincare business. Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, I like doing a lot of things, and I mean, Hapa talk aside, just as a human being and as an actor, I think it's so important. And look, everyone's different. I don't like to preach my way onto anyone. And some people, I don't think this works for them, right? Like you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. I think a lot of people think I'm crazy, to run a few companies, and like it's really not like for everyone. And I'm always so swamped, and I even feel bad because when you were like trying to help me through the technical difficulties, I'm like I have these manic moments because it's hard for me to stay calm sometimes because there's so much going on, right? So yeah, skincare company, and long story short, it's a French skincare company, and we are the U.S. distributors, but we primarily distribute to spas locally, and of course, like throughout the nation. And we're very famous in France. We carry in the biggest spas over there, but we're transitioning and we're trying to make more of a name of ourselves here. So we import everything. It's made in France, in our own lab, and we import it all, and we import it all ourselves to here, and then we sometimes sell, of course, to direct buyers as well. So that's like a whole side business that I think I don't post about as much as well, but I'm always doing shipments. I'm always processing shipments. I'm always going to spas. I'm always trying to sell our product. Like I feel like a drug dealer. I'm like pushing product, right? But I love it and I use it. And a lot of my followers, I'm so thankful because they really do trust me. I've gotten so many new, eyeballs and new interest for the company because they trust and they see what it's done for my skin. And so everyone loves Salek in my little world, I would say. Really happy with our progress.
That's amazing. And then you're also a restaurateur. Like, can you talk about how did you get involved in that?
I know that one was really random. So they actually approached my mother for investment at the time. And she just told them, like, I'm not liquid at the time. I'm not liquid right now, but why don't you ask Bianca? Because she knows, not that I'm a goody two shoes, but I think that I always knew acting was my thing. And so anytime I would and I work, by the way, I worked as a commercial model in Asia. The budgets are huge. Okay. I would make a lot of money and I would save a lot of money. And I lived with my mother, so I didn't pay rent. And so I was very fiscally like responsible. So I think my mom was like, oh yeah, she's sitting on some money, like go ask her. And I was like, no, because I was so driven by my dreams, and I'm such an intuitively led person that it almost was like, don't do this. Everything about me was like, don't do this, because everyone around me was saying restaurants are crazy. Like, who willingly go, it's not your family business. Your mom, like, don't listen, like, don't do this. This is not what you guys know. Focus on what you know, focus on your skills. And I, to this day, I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you I know so much about restaurants. I really don't. I'm an investor. I hire people who are smarter than me to do it, because I can't do that. But the team was so good. I really believed in my team, and my mother was like, I really think you should get behind this, because it was a team of restaurateurs who have a long, successful running of restaurants in Chicago, in the Chicago area, which is where I was born. So I was like, you know what? Why don't you just do it? So I did it. It was a risk. Went all in. And it was like single-handedly the best decision financially for my life. It's allowed me to pursue this.
That's awesome. Can you tell us what restaurant it is? Because I go to Chicago quite often. I would love to know there.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Yeah, and you'll have to let me know so that I can call ahead and make sure they're take care of you. But it's Bar Roma in Andersonville.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, definitely going to check it out next time in town. I love Chicago. I think it has some of the best food in the States. So
We are the foodie city, and we're so underrated. Like,
yeah.
as
Surprise.
a city, as a city as a whole, like Chicago's the best. I mean, if it weren't for film, I would just be there. Like I have to be here, but that's the best city. Chicago's the best city.
I do love Chicago. There, it's sadly I've only been there like when it's blazing hot in the middle of summer or dead of winter. So I'll have
Yeah,
to it's a little more mild. So
I know. We
I
do get full 4 seasons, you know, that's the thing. We get a real summer and we also get a real winter.
yes, you
So,
do. You absolutely do. Um,
yeah.
gosh, there's just so much. What are some of the challenges that you faced as a restaurateur? Because I mean, you're successful in it. So, like, what lessons have you learned, and is there anything you would do differently?
Okay, the lessons I've learned. Well, COVID was a great blessing in disguise because, like, talk about lessons. You know, I was so fortunate and so coddled, and just like by my whole investment experience in restaurants. You know, so there were very few challenges. I mean, we got our liquor license in less than 2 weeks. Everything just was like boom, 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 boom. It was my partners and I bought the building. The building was a former bank. It had like this old school rustic brick charm, original marble. Everything was just so like meant to be that the challenges weren't even there. And we like did so good. I mean, I don't want to be too TMI, but you know, we broke even really, really. I think it was like our first or second year, like, you know, so it was like completely smooth sailing. And then from then on, it was just like amazing growth, right? Amazing growth monthly. We just see so it was so we developed a vending machine for our products, and these were like fun ideas we had that we learned to pivot during a hard time because there was a whole year or and a half of zero profit and complete like sinkage, right? Coming from like a crazy amount of success, being ranked like on the top 10s the got list, you know, like just something we didn't expect, to like not being able to, you know, pay our employees. And like it was so like, what do we do? So we did our best, you know, we got our loans. We figured everything out, and we came up with amazing ideas. Of course, we got involved with like Grubhub, Uber Eats, whatever. We really just shaped up and just adapted to the challenge of trying to, because we can't get butts in seats anymore. I think that's a big qualm when it comes to pandemics and restaurants. Like nothing beats butts in seats. Like, you know, like ordering is great. Unless people order up a storm, like butts in seats is, you know, that's the main thing. Sorry, I sound insane, but yeah, I like butts in seats, you know, but I do.
It makes absolute sense. I know. I mean,
Yeah.
here in New York, so many of like restaurants had to shut down because.
Yeah. I was scared. Can I tell you? I was terrified. I did not want that to be us, and thank God it wasn't. We're still going. We're going strong.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I mean,
Thank you.
that's quite the accomplishment to get through the pandemic like that. Um, how I would love to ask you, how do you? I mean, you do so much. How do you find time for like self care, and do you have a self care routine?
Yeah, I love that question because I've decided to implement that more so recently. That wasn't a thing for me before. Um, but you'll see me talk about self-care and mental health a lot more lately because I felt like I almost had a breakdown, especially like a month ago. I was on the verge. I didn't quite have it, okay? But almost is good enough for me to be like, "Oh my God." You know, so my days, I have like I'm looking at it right now, and you're seated on one of my planners, but this one's like an hourly breakdown. And then there's like, I have this little thing, I'm going to move it, but this is more of a agenda of like more like broad on a broader scope, like note taking and stuff like that. Right. So that's, I have to pencil it in. Like I have to schedule it in, right? When you're asking how do I do self-care? There are days like today where it won't happen. But 2 days ago, I went to the pool and I meditated in my pool. And I wrote the time. I said I'm going to do 20 minutes, maybe 30, if I'm feeling generous with myself, of just doing absolutely nothing, leaving my phone upstairs, leaving my dog upstairs. Like it's not about anything or anyone but me. And that's one way I like to do self-care. Yeah, I do quite a lot. And I mean, it's gotten to the point where I've decided to not even have a commercial agent simply because I book so much on my own that it makes no sense. And I've found myself getting annoyed when I see the notifications for auditions. That's where we're at. Because I was like, oh my God. And I would throw my phone or be like, oh, like I would like in my mind be like just cringe. And I'm like, why am I like, they're doing their job. What is this? And I'm like, okay, it's probably because without the agent, I'm already working almost every single day on a commercial set that I don't need somebody throwing things at me, you know? And so it's not the traditional path. I obviously don't say like, hey, you go and follow me, because that's not my thing, may not be your thing, but it has worked out for me. So, you know, I let go of my commercial agent and I'm just riding solo, and I've got a lot going on, you know, and I'm still booked for a ton of commercials coming up, you know? So yeah, that's also one way I practice self-care, is kind of knowing when to how to protect my space and saying no to people, even if it's shitty. It's kind of bummy, you know, like severing relationships. I don't love doing that, but I also like won't go to girls' night if I'm not feeling up for it. And I used to feel obliged to. I used to feel like, oh my gosh, you're not social enough. You're all you do is work, and like you owe it to the no, you don't owe it to anyone. If you're a recluse like me and you need to recharge, you know, because being on set takes so much like interpersonal skills in and of itself. If you just need to not be around people, don't be around people. I just shut myself off. I get in my little cave, and then I just study some scripts, because I always have some sort of audition going on, and I just get back to work.
I think that is so important, being able to say like no to things, especially
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, as a working actor, as doing so much. And I think a lot of times we're I have a reminder that just popped up. I apologize for that noise. Like you, I have so many little pings and dings, and
I
sometimes
was
I
gonna
forget.
say, you're talking about I'm busy. You're a go-getter, and it's so hard to do your job. You're wrangling all these different personalities, and you do it so effortlessly, and you've always made me feel really loved and cared about, and like I just think you're a brilliant lady, honestly.
Thank you. Thanks. That's so sweet. I mean, I'm a big fan of yours, because like you just well seem to do everything so effortlessly. But I think it's important for people to realize that it does take a lot out of you, and it does take an effort. So like if I say no to something, it's not because I dislike you or anything, because sometimes I need to take some space for myself, and like you're doing, you take some space for yourself. And I think that message is so important for women, millennial women, BIPOC millennial women to know here, especially if you don't take care of yourself first, then your projects and your dreams aren't going to happen.
Yeah, you know, and like, who do you have to blame? I mean, you know, when I used to get so mad at myself when I like go out with I'm just like, why am I doing this? You know, I don't even do it anymore. And I had this talk yesterday on set. I was talking to a male actor that I like really bonded with, because we had a lot of similar commonalities in like philosophy. And I told him, I feel like I'm very sensitive these days. I did, because I don't think I used to be that kind of person. But now I'm like, I'm a sensitive person. And I mean this when I'm saying this, like, if somebody says something that is remotely alarming or revealing to me of their character, the younger Bianca would have been like, oh, benefit of the doubt. Oh, I don't think, oh, it was a lot of like wishy-washy. They probably didn't, and it got me in trouble. You know, that's how like men take advantage of girls on set, right? That's how people in general take advantage of you. And I mean, if you take nothing from this conversation but just this, it's okay to be sensitive, and it's okay to trust your gut, like right off the bat, like right the first time. Don't wait for a second. If somebody, and even if it means you're the crazy one, even if you feel gaslit by everyone in the room because you made everyone else uncomfortable, so fucking be it. So fucking be it. You know why? Because your boundaries, they should be clear to you, because if they're not clear to you, guess what? They're not going to be clear to anyone else, you know? And so I'm very sensitive now. And if somebody says something that I'm like, that revealed something about them, I don't like that part of their character, I'm not going to actually talk to them. I'm not going to give them my time. I'm not going to hang out. I'm not going to do anything. Or if I feel uncomfortable, I'm going to address it. And I've done that. I felt like, not sexually, I wouldn't go as far as sexually assaulted, but I felt very violated on set. And I'm 30 years old. Okay. I'm old enough to know not to freeze up. And guess what I did? I froze up because I felt like, wow, that person took advantage of me, that the camera was rolling. They knew that if I were to, what am I going to do? Stop rolling and smack him? I would be the crazy one. So he knew, he took that opportunity to do what he did. Right.
Oh,
and guess what I did? Yeah. So guess what I did? I called him and I said, what you did was so fucked up. You give me an apology right now. Because you can't do this. And I didn't go on social media. I didn't blast him. I didn't do anything crazy. But I gave him the opportunity to apologize. And he did. But
wow.
Yeah, he did. It was a half apology. It wasn't all the way. Because of course men never admit, right? It's just, oh, I misconstrued, whatever. What matters is that he made an effort to apologize. So I didn't have to do anything more drastic from there on, But oh my God, young women and men, please trust your gut. Like, just trust your gut off the bat. And if you're sensitive, it's okay. It's a blessing. Lean into your sensitivity. Don't shove it away. I think nowadays people are like, oh, that makes you this and that makes you. No, I don't care.
Oh, I think that's fabulous advice. Absolutely fabulous advice. And I'm so sorry that you experienced that on set. That would be it. This could be a whole other conversation that we should have another time, because
we should absolutely have. Yeah.
We should definitely have this. I want to keep chatting with you, but we are almost out of time. So is there anything else that you would like to leave the Mixed Asian Media Fest audience with, and where can we find you on social media? All of that.
Gosh. Well, I love that we're all like a little family. And Alex, you're you're such a wonderful, brilliant lady. Just to wrap this up, this is not easy to do, guys. Like, the fact that she did this is like, and for nothing, okay, like, this is a very special lady. We all have to stick together, right? We are a family here, and we all have to help each other out whenever we can. So what my takeaway is, reach out to me, keep in touch with me, find me on Instagram at Bianca W Stam. I'm working on my website. I literally just don't have the time, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to get to it. That might be more of a space of like a portal to see exactly what I'm doing, but you can always Google and like IMDb, and it'll things will show up. But yeah, my takeaway is, let's stick together. Being Hapa is a really unique experience. It's being a minority within a minority, and like, some people don't understand what we go through. They may see us as fully white. They may see us as fully Asian on the same day. Mind you, I've had that on the same day where, oh, you're a white girl. Oh no, you're Asian. Like, I've had this, it's the same day. And it goes to show you, really, race is just an illusion. And it's such a what a layered yet stupid thing. But go after your dreams. I know I'm like, whoa, where's this girl going? Yeah, stick together, go after your dreams. Being Hapa it has its challenges, but it's really, really cool. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Bianca. Where can we find you? Oh, wait, you said where you could find you on Instagram. Yeah. Is there anything that we should keep our eyes open for that's coming up for you?
I have, but I think it might be, I'm not allowed to say. I did sign an NDA, but if you follow me on IG, I think any second you might see, it might go boom. You never know.
I can't wait. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy, and I really appreciate your time getting to sit down and chat. So thank you.
Thank you so much for today. You have a good day.
You too. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
You too. Bye, love.
Bye.